Okay, hi Manthan. I've had a look at your draft. The first thing I would say is at some point you're going to need to make this a much more interesting, attention grabbing headline. Now, you've made a good effort to get a tone, a personal voice, but at times your expression is just lacking clarity, and also you need to be watching out for your editing. So, starting off, fast food on the go is so easy today, especially with the development of technology these days. Already there's repetition here, so you need to tidy that up. When you say technology, what do you mean? Are you saying it's helped reduce the production time of fast food while increasing the quantity? But how about how the smartphone and a lot of restaurants, fast food outlets like McDonald's have introduced apps, all designed to encourage computer savvy or screen savvy teenagers and young adults to make it easier and easier and easier to grab fast food on the go. Now, here you say all teenagers like me. Well, that is a massive generalization. Again, address your audience. You could be saying here, well, if you're anything like me and you love fast food, wherever we go, our first choice is often junk food. Do you see what I mean? Just a slight difference. You don't need to do things like love fast food in quote marks. And you can say, and full stop here. You need to be varying up your sentence lengths. Here, well, it's the good news, guys, is it's not a problem for us. Full stop. At the moment. Again, if you're anything like me and you participate in competitive club and school sports and are physically active a lot of the time, fast food isn't going to make us blow up like balloons. But now remember, you're talking to teenagers, however, is quite formal. But while we're living in a positive and protective environment, such as what, Manthan? Home? Now stop putting things into quotation marks unless they're actually quotation marks from an expert. Fast food isn't always good for, or eat it with a limit. So here what you're saying is, while at school, we've studied things like nutrition, or we've been educated about the dangers of too much fast food, not to mention our mothers, hopefully nagging us, have kept us alert and aware of the potential risk that fast food can do to our body. In school, we learn about fat, sugars, carbohydrates. Now, don't say etc. This is a persuasive piece. You actually need to start putting in some evidence to lend authority to what you're saying. Not taking all of that to account. Now, what are you saying here? Now, remember, Manthan, be very, very clear in your mind who your target audience is. And I think we agreed that your target audience is sort of your 15 to 20-year-old, mainly guys. So picture him and imagine that you're talking directly to him. So you need to use the kind of language that you'd be talking to him with. You can say things like bro. You can say things like, I don't know, all the stuff that we've been telling you not to say in your writing all year for your formal essays, you now get to say. So even taking all of this into account, us guys will still grab, and here, why don't you've got to get a bit more energy. Grab a Macca's, a Big Mac meal, or whatever you get from Kentucky Fried Chicken, wherever and whenever we can. And again, thanks to being physically active, this isn't a problem. But full stop. But what happens if we start to take responsibility for our own lives and make the transition to university? That's going to need a next question mark. Now, you've got a real change in voice here. This is not, that's fine. But again, you're talking, you've suddenly switched from we to I. And I think you just need to have a read of this and see if you think it sounds right. And again, lots of generalizations. This is when we usually stop playing sports. Now, you need some facts and statistics to back up what you're saying. And as university life gets busier, fast on the go are the only option. You've got to do some editing. We do not have our parents telling us to eat healthy food. Why is that in quote marks? And so we don't take into account all the saturated fats, sugars, etc. I think we agreed that what you were saying, you're going to start off by saying, is that this is the time when you're at school and doing all this sport that you are developing poor habits, right? And then you make the transition to university. You may move out of home. You may be considered more of an adult, and you may not be doing as much organised sport as you were at school. And if you are, it might be just friendly games. It's not as rigorous. And perhaps I think what you want to be starting to do is saying, well, we've all been told that it's saturated fat that is the enemy. But what many of us don't know, because I think this is the point of what your article is about, is actually sugar is the real culprit here. And that's where you're going to start going into the debate over obesity. And historically, it was about, we were led to believe that it was caused by fat, but actually what is happening, what is now being revealed, is that it's actually been proven that sugar is the biggest danger to obesity in Australia, but also worldwide. Okay, so you've got a bit of working out to do. You're on the right lines, but you need to be putting in more persuasive techniques, and you need to be looking up some facts.